While Mike Pence continues to come to the defense of Donald Trump, despite the former president reportedly saying Pence, quote, deserved to be hanged on January the 6th. In an interview this week, the former vice president spoke out against charging Trump with crimes relating to the Capitol attack. Instead, Pence suggested it was Trump's lawyers who were responsible for efforts to overturn the 2020 election, not the former president himself. But during the House January 6th hearings, we heard from one of those lawyers who made it clear that he opposed plans to challenge the election results. Here is what Pence had to say this week and what we previously heard from White House lawyer Eric Hirschman.
I would hope that they would not bring charges against the former president. I don't look, as I wrote in my book, I think the president's actions and words on January 6th were reckless. But I don't know that it's criminal to take bad advice from lawyers.
He started to ask me about something dealing with Georgia and preserving something potentially for appeal. And I said to him, are you out of your effing mind? Right? I said, I only want to hear two words coming out of your mouth from now on. Orderly transition. And I screamed, I said, I don't want to hear any other effing words coming out of your mouth, no matter what, other than orderly transition. Repeat those words to me. And I screamed at him. Eventually he said, orderly transition. I said, good, John. Now I'm going to give you the best free legal advice you're ever getting in your life. Get a great effing criminal defense lawyer. You're going to need it.
And, of course, he does need it now, and they all need it, and they're all pleading the fifth, as Donald Trump would say, like the mob. Because, of course, Donald Trump doesn't understand the Constitution and the protections that the Constitution and the amendments give us. It's interesting, you know, I think one of the most fascinating moments here is when Pat Cipollone, the president's attorney, was asked, did anybody in the White House, any lawyers, any staff members, did anybody agree with what was going on at the Capitol or with Donald Trump trying to overthrow an election? And Pat Cipollone said, no, not one. And yet here we have Mike Pence trying to blame the lawyers. We just saw the lawyers right there. We heard the lawyers all against this horrible plan, all desperate to get Donald Trump to call the insurrectionists and the mobsters off when Mike Pence's life was in danger. And all despaired when he refused to do it. All of them. Every single one. And yet, David Frum, you and I have known Mike Pence for a long time. So discouraged for such a long part of Donald Trump's administration, how he shamed himself. He humiliated himself. And on January the 6th, I was so proud of him, standing up for American democracy. I was like, okay, well, all's well that ends well. And now we have him back in the old role of really humiliating himself and lying for Donald Trump.
Yeah, he might as well speak his mind instead of, as you say, he did the right thing at the moment that it counted, and honor to that. But since then, it's been like he's writing op-eds after op-eds, the case for hanging Mike Pence by Mike Pence. But let's also keep an eye on who those lawyers really are. Pat Cipollone, who said no one defended what happened on January 6th. Pat Cipollone led President Trump's defense then President Trump, in the first impeachment trial when Trump was being charged for trying in advance to pervert the election. And if he'd succeeded in that scheme, he wouldn't have needed to use violence, trying to pervert the election by blackmailing, extorting Ukraine and its President Zelensky in order to corrupt the American election of 2020 in advance. That was okay. That was not an impeachable offense. If the impeachment before the election had put Michael Pence into the role of the incumbent president in 2020, none of this would have happened, and we would have had a fair election. We would have had a peaceful transition, no matter whether Mike Pence won re-election as he should have done, or whether Joe Biden defeated him.
I have two reactions listening to all this. On Pence, he actually has to make a decision, and he's failed. He should be running in some ways as the anti-Trump candidate, but he can't quite bring himself to doing that. So he's caught in between, and it seems to me it's bad on every level, from the legality to the politics. The other is Joe. There's got to be some irony here. All these people citing the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution in order to defend their ability or protect themselves from the consequences of everything they did to undermine the Constitution. Maybe that's what makes it so great, that we even allow it to provide protections for those who would destroy it. But that's what we're seeing here.
No, I mean, to what you're saying, Richard, the politics of the moment, Pence just seems to be stuck in the past. And every candidate at some point has to get over their presidential ambitions. You look at what Mitt Romney did and ran for the Senate and is going to be remembered well in history as standing up against Trump. You look at what Liz Cheney did, standing up to Donald Trump and giving up her political future in the Republican Party. Joe, why can Mike Pence not move on from his presidential ambitions, or do you think it's something else?
Well, it just comes down to the fact that he doesn't understand. I said it yesterday. It's like a political version of The Sixth Sense. He doesn't know politically that he's dead. He's not going to win anything. He's never going to be elected to office again. Donald Trump will make sure of that. There are enough Trumpists in the base. They'll never forgive him for that. So if you're not going to get elected because you did the right thing, do what Liz Cheney did. Liz Cheney, who, by the way, other than Anthony Fauci, I say that and I know it triggers the snowflakes on the Trump right. So snowflakes, please lock yourself in a freezer so you don't melt. Anthony Fauci, the most popular man in America when it comes to public servants. Number two, please, snowflakes, don't get triggered. Liz Cheney. Because Liz made a decision. She knew she could do the right thing or she could get reelected. So Liz has lived politically to fight another day. We don't know when that's going to be, but that's the decision Mike Pence needs to make right now. We don't know what the political landscape is going to look like in 2 years and 5 years and 10 years. Mike Pence could still have a future there, but he's trying to get elected in Donald Trump's Republican Party. It's never going to happen. As old Texas politicians would say, there ain't nothing in the middle of the road in Texas but white lines and dead armadillos. There's not going to be a way to work the middle path here for Mike Pence. He just needs to do the right thing. And that, Elise, is what he's trying to do right now. And he's going to fail. So on that happy news, not happy because, I mean, I like Mike. I wish you'd keep doing the right thing. But David Frum, he just doesn't seem to understand. He's not going to be president in Donald Trump's party. So, again, why not keep doing the right thing like he did before and during January 6th?
Yeah. Well, if you won't believe in your own accomplishments, and that's been, I guess, maybe the theme of this show. If you can't believe in yourself, who else will believe in you? He did the right thing on January 6th, and he should believe in that. And that is his message. That is his legacy. That's the most important thing he did in his whole political career. And if he can't take ownership of that, then really what is the point of him? If your best moment does not define you, then what are you going to be defined by?
Well, and you know, I don't want to be too melodramatic here, but we started by talking about Winston Churchill. Churchill, the famous saying from one of his friends, when Winston's right, he's right, and when he's wrong, my God. There are many my God moments throughout Winston Churchill's career, but he got 1940 right, and he saved Western civilization from Nazism until the new world could come to the aid of the old, as he would say. Mike Pence got January 6th right. He needs to make that his legacy.